Going to be getting some reaction from the White House, a reaction to a devastating setback for the U.S.-UK relationship. The British Parliament only moments ago rejecting a motion to authorize, at least preliminarily, a resolution that would have allowed the British government to go ahead and work with the United States in dealing with a military response to Syria's alleged use of chemical weapons against civilian targets in Syria. But that resolution just moments ago went down to defeat despite the urgings of the British Prime Minister David Cameron. 285 votes against the resolution, 272 in favor. A major setback, could be a serious political problem for the longevity of David Cameron's government. Let's go to our senior White House correspondent, Jim Acosta. He's getting reaction from officials over there. What are they saying, Jim?
Wolf, we can report that a senior U.S. official tells CNN that unilateral action may be necessary now against Syria in light of the vote in Britain. That source telling CNN, quote, "I do think that is a possibility." And then speaking about the vote in British Parliament, this official said, quote, "We care what they think. We value the process, but we're going to make the decision we need to make." And then this official pointed back to what the principal deputy press secretary, Josh Earnest, said at the White House briefing earlier this afternoon, who talked about the national security interests of the United States and how the president is going to seek out actions that advance those interests no matter what is happening on the world stage. So this is an indication, Wolf, that the president is willing to go it alone against Syria.
Well, he certainly doesn't have the British government on board, at least not yet, in this huge, embarrassing setback. Here's the question. The UN weapons inspectors, they're supposed to be coming back over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, reporting to Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, on what they discovered, what they found. I assume the Obama administration will at least wait until their report reaches the UN. Is that right?
I haven't gotten a sense as to what the White House is willing to wait for. I think that the message has been communicated to the United Nations from this White House that those inspectors are in harm's way and that they need to get out of this area, at least in the short term, very soon. But, Wolf, one thing I've heard from administration officials all week is that this White House is not going to allow diplomatic maneuvering get in the way of what they feel like they need to do to advance U.S. national security interests. And the president has said time and again that while he hasn't made a decision to execute some sort of strike against Syria, that he feels like a chemical weapons attack against civilians in Syria carried out by the regime not only is a threat to U.S. national security, but is a violation of an international norm such as the Geneva Conventions, the chemical weapons treaties that have been signed and adhered to by countries around the world. And so the White House is pretty firm on this. They've been saying all along that they wanted international cooperation, but you always had the sense when you talked to them that that wasn't necessarily a deal breaker if they didn't have it, Wolf.
And a further complication, the president is supposed to be in Russia, in St. Petersburg, Russia, later next week at the G20 summit. Russia, a key ally of Syria. That puts the U.S. in an awkward position if airstrikes or missile strikes are launched before he leaves Washington for first Sweden and then St. Petersburg, Russia. Jim Acosta over at the White House. We'll stay in close touch with you. We'll take a quick break. Much more of our special report. Crisis in Syria right after this.